Version 2 of the Astronomy OSC Preprocessing script is now out, and it comes with a few new enhancements. And in this video, I'll go over them with 2 different demos. As always, if you need help, the best way to get help is to join our Discord server or ask me on Patreon or on Buy Me a Coffee. And make sure you have your logs handy. And you can export them by going to the bottom right hand side. Right under your console log, and there's a download button. It will download a .log file. Make sure you have that handy to attach. You can also find me on GitHub. As always, huge thanks to my supporters on Patreon and on Buy Me a Coffee. The biggest change to this script is how it looks. So now it implements a new library called the PyQt6 library, which is the new standard for Siril and its new scripts. So the script looks and feels a little bit better. And if you have this installed officially through Siril, the look should automatically update for you even before this video is published. The next biggest change is the ability to save and load presets. A lot of you have asked for this in the previous version where you want to be able to save your list of sessions and files. Well, now you can with a click of a button. The next big update is the ability to process each of these sessions individually. So if you want to process OSC data and combine it with dual narrowband data, you now can. You'll get a both final stack with everything combined, as well as the different sessions, the different filters individually, so that you can process them later on yourself. The last biggest change you'll see is the experimental mono processing. And I don't do a lot of mono processing. I have access to our club's observatory telescope where we do monochrome imaging, and I do process those from time to time, and that's the demo that I'll show you today. And the one thing that I would love from you is feedback, not just with the monochrome part of the script, but the entire thing. Tell me what you like about the script, tell me what you don't like about the script, tell me what could be improved that would make your life a lot easier, and we can improve the script together. So without further ado, let's get to the demo. Right, if you don't already have the script to install it, you go to Scripts, Get Scripts, and here you can search for an astronomy, and you'll have 2 options. It's going to be the second one, the OSC pp.py. So check that, apply, and it will install it for you if it's not already installed. And once it's installed, it'll be in Scripts, Python scripts, pre-processing, and it'll be in astronomy OSC pp.py. So let's start that up. Right, so this is what the new UI looks like. It is currently version 2.0.0 to adhere to the standards of the new Qt6 design that Siril has been pushing. This whole thing is responsive or flexible, so you can increase and decrease the size as you need. It looks a little bit better, it's a little bit cleaner, everything's aligned a little bit more, but the functionality is mostly the same. So I'll quickly go over everything here anyway. I'll reprocess my Veil Nebula here in 2 sessions instead of doing 6. So I'm going to click on Add Lights. Alright, so this is my panel 1 lights. So now I'm going to add a session. I have my panel 2 here, so session 2, I'll add lights. So I'll go here, I have panel 2 here. Click Open. I'll add my flats to session 2, which should be here. Flats. And I'll add my biases or my dark flats. They're going to be treated the exact same way. And I'm going to go back to session 1. I'm going to click on Add Flats. And then add biases. And now I'm going to click on Add Dark. So these are, I have to go somewhere else for these. So these are 0 degrees Celsius at 300 seconds, so I'll go Add Darks, 300 seconds, okay. Alright, so I added my darks there, and I'm going to go back to session 2 and add my darks here. I need to organize it a little bit better. Okay, so that's great. So I have all of these here. I could do, as many sessions as I want. In the last demo I did 6 sessions of the Veil Nebula. And if you need to remove any files here, so I'm going to remove the darks from this session just to show you. You can select one or multiple by holding click or control and click, or you can click and then hold shift and it'll select all of these, and you click on remove selected files. It'll give you a warning and you press OK and it deletes all of them. You can also click on reset everything. If you do that, it'll reset all the sessions and all of the selected files here, but I'm not going to do that here, so I'm just going to add my darks back, press OK. One cool thing here is that now we can do save presets. So if you loaded all these files and you know you're going to have to process this later on, you can click on save presets. And in the logs here, you'll see that it saved the presets, in a presets subdirectory. So if I open up my folder, so my test session 2 directory here, I have now a presets directory. And I have the Astronomy OSC PP presets.json. So if I open this with, I'll just set it with Notepad. You can see it has a JSON file with all of my files, all the full paths, as well as all of my stacking parameters that we'll look into soon. So I'm going to minimize that, and we're going to go over to the second tab here. So if I click on background extraction and drizzle, and now if I click on load presets, it'll actually override these settings. So if I click on load presets, you'll see that it overrode it, but the files are still here. So if I want to make sure that I have background extraction enabled, drizzle enabled, maybe filter roundness, whatever, I don't need to do, I'll do feathering because it is a mosaic. And then I click on save presets. You'll see that when I open my notepad here, so save presets, so you can see that it already updated, so it's now true. If I go back, uncheck this, enable drizzle, save presets, come back here, you see that it changed to false automatically, so it updates as it goes. If you don't have a presets directory inside your home directory here, this will ask you, it'll prompt you. So if I actually change the name of this to something else, it looks for this specific file name, which I can probably change later on. If I click on load presets, it can't find it, it'll ask you for one. So I can click on it and then it'll open. So it's just that if it has an Astronomy OSC PP presets.json, it'll automatically load it. Otherwise, it will ask you for it. It's pretty straightforward. We also have cleanup intermediate files. I will click on this, I'll let it clean it up, and we also have process sessions separately, and I'll do this as well. I'll show you exactly what that output looks like. Mono is experimental, we'll go over that in a demo in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to just leave this as is, and we're going to process this, and let Siril process. I'll open that up here, and I'll click on process files. Before that, I'm going to click on help, show you there are some updates here. Try to keep it simple. There's a limit here, so I had to shorten a bunch of these, but let me know if this is not helpful. If you want to see something more here, happy to do that as well, and that outputs here. Okay, so I'm going to click on process files, and Siril is working in the background, so we'll let this run. It shouldn't take too long, for only about 30 frames, so we'll come back really soon. All right, so this is done just like the last version. This stays open, but this time, since we have saved presets, you don't need it, so I could use feedback on whether you want to see this or not. So I'll click close, and this is our merged file. So the auto stretch, unlinked auto stretch. You can see that this is the panel 1, panel 2. It stitched really well, did a really nice job, and it only took just a few minutes. If you look from the beginning to the end, it's only about 9 minutes or 10 minutes from the beginning to the end, so not bad. So that worked really well. And if I look at my folder here, my test sesh 2 here, what I have here is I have my presets directory. I have my final stacked file here, which has the drizzle factor, the process date, and the number of frames it processed. It processed 22 frames. So I think I had 24 actually, so it got rid of 2 in the stacking process. We can also look at collected lights. So this saves all of the calibrated light frames from all of your sessions. I only have 2 sessions, and it saved all 24 files. So I guess 2 got ripped out during the final stacking process. So if you want to get rid of your other data and just save this, you can save this and then put it all into one directory and then process these only. These are already calibrated, so you don't have to worry about calibration frames. And then the masters frames here. So we have the flats, biases, and darks for each of these sessions. So if you are not providing master frames, it'll create masters for you, and with the underscore calibration flat, calibration underscore stacked. So that'll be the calibration frame. So the next time you run it and you want to include just one of these frames, only the master frames, you can just do that instead of the individual calibration frames, and it will not create another master stack for you. It's just a one-time thing because we used non-master frames. And then now we can go to individual stacks, and so these are the individually stacked frames, so 12 and 9. So again, it has to do with how Siril is rejecting things. So if I open one of these, you can see that this is one of the frames. This is going to be the top frame, and then this is the bottom frame. If you want to work on these separately, you can. So you have both of them individually as well as a combined version. There we go. I have a lot of fun writing these scripts. This script is written in Python, and one of the best ways to learn the fundamentals of this language is with the sponsor of this video, Brilliant. Brilliant helps you become a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of visual and interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis, and even AI. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to read my code or even write your own, Brilliant's interactive lessons make it easy to build a real understanding through hands-on problem solving no matter your experience level. I am a visual learner myself, and I learn best by practicing what I see, so I found Brilliant's hands-on approach incredibly engaging and fun, especially since progressing feels less like homework and more like a game. I've already been diving more into their math and science courses. You can start learning for free by going to brilliant.org/nastronomy, scanning the QR code on screen, or using the link in the description below. And Brilliant has also given all of our viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited access to everything on Brilliant. Thanks again to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Now let's go through the mono process in the script. So I restarted my Siril. I'm going to change the home directory here. It's always the first thing I want to do. I'm going to go to here. I have a new empty folder called test mono sesh 2. It's going to be empty. So let me pull that up really quickly just so you see it. There you go. This is empty. And I'm going to go back to Siril, and I'm going to go to scripts, Python scripts, preprocessing, and the Nastronomy OSC PP. So once this opens up, I can actually go and add all my files here, but I actually have a preset that I'm going to load now, then I'll go over what was added. And that preset will add 4 sessions, including all of the individual files in there. So I'm going to click on load presets. Since I don't have a presets directory, it asks me for one, and I'm going to go back. And then I'm in my old mono presets folder here that I saved from a while ago from my last test a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to click on open. And you'll see that it added 4 sessions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in each session, I have lights, I have darks, I have flats, and I have biases. And the object I am going to stack is NGC 7606. It had a supernova a few weeks ago, and this was taken with an observatory-grade telescope with LRGB filters. So the first session is the blue filter, so it has the blue filter here, and the appropriate blue flats. The darks don't have to have a specific filter, so they're the same for all of them. Session 2 is my luminance filter, so it has Lum. Session 3 is red. And then session 4 is V for visual green. And they're not in any particular order, just the order that I added them the previous time, and then I clicked on Save Presets. If I click on Save Presets now, it'll actually save the presets in my test mono sesh directory. So I can actually see that pop up. So if I click on Save Presets, you see that a presets folder popped up here, and here I have my OSC presets PP here. And so I have my 4 sessions. Each session is a different filter. So this is the way I've pictured it. I don't do a lot of mono except for whenever I can get access to the observatory telescope. So feedback on how this process works is greatly appreciated, and that's why I've marked it as experimental. So we're going to go to the second tab in processing. Previously I did background extraction. I am not doing drizzle for this, but if I did, I would select the drizzle amount and the pixel fraction. I'm not going to filter any frames. I don't have a lot of frames here anyway. I am not going to filter feather because this is not a mosaic, and I am going to clean up intermediate files, and I checked mono experimental. I don't have to check on process sessions separately. It'll actually kind of double the work because mono actually splits all the sessions and outputs them separately anyway, so we don't have to do that. So this is all I need. So I'm going to make sure that I have Siril open here. I have this here, and I'm going to click on Process Files. So it works pretty much the same way. It's going through each of the filters, and if I look back at my directory here, you can see that it has my masters that it created, one for each of these sessions or slash filters. So I could, in a future enhancement, or when I split out the mono logic, I could put instead of the session name, I could put the filter name in there. So this is kind of feedback that I would like to look for, and there's going to be 4 different sessions worth of master frames here. And as I said, in the future, if I restack these, I can just use these master frames instead of the individual frames. I have my collected lights here, so it will save all of the collected lights in one go still. I didn't get rid of this logic with the mono processing setup, so you can stack these later on if you want. All right, going back here, and then I have my mono stacks folder. So this is a new folder that popped up. And looking at this, I think the script is actually done. Yep, the script is done. So collected lights not found. It's okay. I was trying to do some cleanup here. So, but it finished all of this. It took just a few seconds, or about a minute or so, and I didn't even have to skip forward through this setting. And the image that loaded here is the last filter that or the last session that it processed. So this is my V filter, my visual green. So I can auto stretch this and we can see this thing. If I open up my folder here, there are two sets of files. So we have my mono files here. These are as they are. If you want to process these later on yourself, you can do them yourself. But it also has an R underscore. So these are registered frames, so you can actually stack these or combine them using the LRGB combiner here in Siril without having to do anything. So let me show you what I mean. So if I open one of these, it looks normal. I'll open the other one. It looks normal. But if I want to combine these, I go to image processing, I go to composition, RGB compositing. It'll close the current image, and I have this. So it's gonna be luminance. I'm gonna click on mono stack. So I'm gonna do the non-R underscore. So loom is session 2. So it does have the filter names here. Click on open. My red. And it's going to say not okay because the dimensions are slightly different. And that's because of how registration and stacking happened. It's going to be the same thing for the green. So I'm not even going to add the blue just to show you that it's different, right? So I'm going to reset, clear everything, and click back on this. And this time in mono stacks, I'm going to stack or composite the R underscores. These are the registered frames. So it's going to be luminance here. You'll see the framing is 4819. Is this red? Yeah, red is going to be this one, R underscore mono. You can see it's okay still. Green. And finally, blue. And then I can click on close, so it actually did do stuff. So I can click on close, I can do this, and this is the auto stretch. So I had the linked auto stretch, makes things look a little bit weird. And now this is actually RGB, so we can see the red, green, blue, and RGB. And this was with luminance, so I can do some more further processing on it. It's not part of this video, so I'm not going to. But this is to show you that you can combine the LRGB data out of the box with the script, because it gives you everything you need. And I can process this as I normally would. The one thing to know about the mono processing is that it does not give you a final stacked product like with OSC preprocessing. And that's because I don't know how you want to map your colors. So in this video, I showed you LRGB processing, which is easy to determine where each color would go. But if you're doing SHO processing, you may not want to assign sulfur to red. Maybe you want to do hydrogen alpha. And of course I can add the ability to make those decisions in the script, but since this is still experimental, I've decided not to do that. In the future, I may either put a different tab here for monochrome processing or split the logic out into its own script so that it's a little bit easier to maintain, because I find myself branching the logic quite a bit between color and monochrome processing here. And it gets a little bit harder to maintain the more code there is. So just some information for you. And if you think that the monochrome processing could be a little bit better, how it should appear, let me know. I would love to hear from you. A huge thanks to everyone who has tested the script. A huge thanks to the Siril devs who took their time to both review the script as well as test it to make sure it works before officially including it in Siril. And a huge thanks to my first sponsor, Brilliant, because I thought the topic was perfect for this video. And the hugest thanks to everyone who supports me on Patreon, on Buy Me a Coffee, and here on YouTube. You give me the motivation to work on these videos and scripts. Until next time, cheers guys.